we set aside one day a year to remember. The flag waves, the flowers are laid, and taps play slowly in the distance. We see empty boots and an empty helmet on top of a rifle. Families forever changed, and a nation forever grateful. We set this day aside to remember. They left their homes, their friends, and their family to defend something they believed in. They returned having given the last full measure of devotion. For the crying spouse, the grieving parents, and the children who've lost a mother or a father. We set this day aside to remember. From the Battle of Yorktown to the shores of Tripoli, from the Alamo in Texas to Little Round Top in Gettysburg, from the port of St. Nazaire to the Ardennes Forest and Iwo Jima, from South Korea to Vietnam, from Kuwait to Baghdad to Afghanistan. They went because someone had to. They fought. They fell. We set this day aside to remember. Our 16th president gave the following address in 1863, 4 months after the Union Army lost 23,000 men in combat. 23,000 sons, brothers, and fathers. Their personal stories ended so our nation's story could continue. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. We set this day aside to remember. We enjoy a day off, a lit barbecue, and time with family and friends. We plant flowers, open pools, and celebrate the start to summer. All of these things are well and good to do. It's good to enjoy the freedom we've been given while honoring those who fought to provide it. We must not forget those who today have heavy hearts, empty chairs, and only memories to comfort them. Their sacrifice deserves this day of remembrance and so many more. From the family at InSolutions to those who've served and to those who've lost loved ones and comrades, thank you for your sacrifice. We are forever grateful. We set this day aside to remember.